The Crypt Interviews in association with Mayo Leisure Point Castle Bar.
Brúnaboinne is a World Heritage Site in County Meath and is the largest and one of the most important complex of megalithic sites in Europe dating to the Neolithic period. The complex is situated around a wide bend in the River Boyne. I'm joined on the show now by Clare Tuffy, Service Manager at Newgrange, to discuss the monuments of this treasured part of Irish history. So you're very welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Well, before we discuss each of the monuments, they were said to be associated with Tuatha De Danann. Could you explain to listeners who they were?
Well, the Tuatha De Danann are a mythical race of people, and they were given credit for building the monuments by the Celts, by the Irish-speaking people when they came to Ireland. But in fact, the monuments of Brúnaboinne are as far before the Celts as the Celts are from us. So when the Celts came to Ireland and they saw these magnificent monuments, they thought that the people who were living in the Boyne Valley couldn't possibly have built these wonderful structures. So they gave credit for their building to gods and goddesses. And that's how the Tuatha De Danann came to be associated with the monuments. But in fact, the monuments were not built by gods and goddesses. They were built by our direct ancestors 5,000 years ago.
The main monuments there, of course, are Newgrange, Nout and Doubt. So firstly, I'd like to discuss Newgrange. How far back does that date?
It's been dated to around 3,200 BC, so it's over 5,000 years old.
And could you explain the structure of the monument?
Yeah, well, for those people who have never been to Newgrange, I often think it's like going to New York for the first time. You've seen so many pictures of it.
Yeah.
And then when you actually get there, you go, whoa, it's big. Well, the same impact it happens when you get to Newgrange for the first time, because it really is a huge building. It's 80 metres across, and there's 200,000 tons of stone in it. So it is a really large structure. It's circular, mound, covered in gleaming white quartz. And then they're called passage tombs by archaeologists. And that simply describes their structure. There's a long, narrow passage leading into a chamber. And in the chamber, 5,000 years ago, people left the cremated remains of their dead.
And was that the main purpose for
Well,
Newgrange?
It's hard to say, because people are buried in churches nowadays, but nobody would ever say that the primary purpose of a church is to hold the remains of the dead. So most people would think that Newgrange had a far wider role in society 5,000 years ago than a cemetery would have nowadays. They were places where the spirits of the ancestors lived on. There were places where people gathered at important times of the year. There were status symbols, everybody would know if you could build something on the scale of Newgrange, Nout and Doubt.
Yeah.
We're not a society to be trifled with. So they had a lot of different roles, but the remains of the dead were placed inside.
And then, of course, the winter solstice is a very special time at Newgrange. Could you tell us a bit about that?
Yeah, well, the winter solstice, and of course, you can understand, especially on these dark days, how much we look forward to the turning of the year. And in modern 21st century Ireland, we have so many modern conveniences, but you can imagine life 5,000 years ago when it was so dark and so wet and miserable. People looked forward to the turning of the season. And those people who built Newgrange built it in such a way that as the sun rises on the very shortest days of the year, the sunlight enters the chamber where the cremated remains of the dead were placed and illuminates the burial chamber. It's the only time of year that we have direct sunlight in the chamber. It marks the beginning of the new year, obviously, but some people speculate it might also mark, symbolise the everlasting victory of light over darkness and life over death.
Yeah.
Message of hope to the dead and to the living.
I'd say it's spectacular to see.
Oh yeah, it's great. And obviously That's reflected in the number of applications we have to be at Newgrange. We have a lottery for places to be in the chamber. We have 6 mornings when we're open to the public, and 20 people are in the chamber each morning. That's 10 lottery winners, and everybody who wins a place to be at Newgrange for dawn gets to bring a guest. And for winter solstice 2015, we had 30,452 applications. And people are coming from as far away as California and the Czech Republic and Belgium and from all over Ireland to be at Newgrange in the hope that they'll see sun.
So you're really lucky if you get a spot.
Oh, absolutely. And then even if you win a spot, there's always a chance that the sun won't shine for you. We have gorgeous weather in the Boyne Valley, but sunlight is not guaranteed every day. So, you could travel from halfway around the world and have no sun. But then that would have happened 5,000 years ago too.
Exactly. Well, then, could you briefly tell us about Nowth and Jowth also?
Yes, Nowth is actually half as big again as Newgrange, and it has a very complicated history because whereas people never lived at Newgrange, people lived at Nowth. So we have houses and souterrains and Norman remains. The most famous aspect of Nowth is the art. There is more art, the very distinctive megalithic art associated with these monuments. There is more art at Nowth than at any other single site anywhere in the world. So it's a very special place with regards to the importance of the art.
And then Jowth?
Jowth then is we think is the first of the monuments, the oldest of them all, and it has two like Nowth. It has 2 passages and 2 chambers within the mound. Newgrange only has 1 passage and 1 chamber, but there are other monuments within Brunabonia World Heritage Site as well. We have almost 90 monuments within the bend of the river.
I'd say it's a fantastic spot to visit.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. But don't come in the summer when we're out the door. Come this time of the year when the sun is shining and a nice blue sky and a winter's day. The Newgrange couldn't look better. All access to the monument is through Brunabonia Visitor Centre, but if anybody just looks up on the internet Newgrange, they'll see exactly how to visit it. Our website is heritageireland.ie and worldheritageireland.ie.
Fantastic. Well, Clare, thank you so much for coming on the show today. Always fascinated me, Newgrange. It's a place definitely I'll be going to visit next year.
Very good. We look forward to welcoming you. Thank you very much.
Thanks a million.
The Crypt interviews in association with Mayo Leisure Point Castlebar.